The date was June 29th, 2025, a seemingly ordinary day that would soon be etched in the annals of injustice. A day that began with routine and ended in tragedy, leaving a family shattered and a community demanding answers. Ajit Kumar, a hard-working daily wage laborer, lived a simple life in the rural district of Sivagangai, Tamil Nadu. He toiled tirelessly to provide for his family, his days filled with honest labor under the scorching sun. He was a man of few words, known for his integrity and dedication to his loved ones. On that fateful day, Ajit Kumar walked into a local police station, unaware that his life was about to take a devastating turn. He was summoned for what he believed to be a routine inquiry, a matter he thought would be resolved quickly. But Ajit Kumar never walked out of that police station. The doors closed behind him, sealing his fate and plunging his family into a nightmare they could never have imagined. He was called in regarding a minor theft investigation, a petty crime that seemed insignificant. Little did he know that this minor issue would become a life-altering event, not just for him, but for everyone connected to him. Ajit was confident in his innocence, firmly believing that he had nothing to hide. He expected to answer a few questions and return home to his family, to the familiar comfort of his humble abode. But hours later, the unthinkable happened. His family received the devastating news that Ajit had died suddenly while in police custody during the course of questioning. The news spread like wildfire, leaving his loved ones in a state of shock and disbelief. The police offered a vague explanation, claiming illness as the cause of death. But their official story quickly began to unravel, riddled with inconsistencies and raising serious doubts about the true circumstances surrounding Ajit's demise. The details just didn't add up. The question of what really transpired behind those closed doors, within the confines of that interrogation room, became a haunting obsession for his grieving family, a relentless pursuit of truth and justice. The tragedy resonated deeply within the community, sparking outrage and a collective demand for accountability. Ajit's death, while under the supposed protection of the law, the very system designed to safeguard its citizens, shattered the community's trust in law enforcement and ignited a firestorm of outrage and protests. His case exposed the terrifying vulnerability of ordinary citizens, the precarious position of those who rely on the system for protection. It highlighted the potential for abuse in the face of unchecked power, the dangers of a system without proper oversight. Ajit Kumar's story is not just a cold statistic, a mere number in a report. It's a stark and chilling reminder of the potential dangers lurking within the very institutions that are meant to protect and serve us. A cautionary tale of justice denied. The autopsy report shattered the police's narrative, revealing multiple blunt force injuries, clear evidence of a violent assault, not a natural death. News of the brutality spread quickly, sparking protests across Sivagangai. The community, united in grief and anger, demanded justice and accountability. Ajit's family became the face of the movement, refusing to accept official explanations and insisting on a fair investigation. Their courage galvanized others, transforming personal tragedy into a public outcry against police brutality. The people's demands were clear: suspend the officers, register a murder case, and ensure a transparent probe. The authorities could no longer ignore the case or hide behind vague statements. Under intense public pressure, the state suspended several officers and handed the case to the CBCID. But the community saw these moves as mere damage control, not real justice. The initial charges, culpable homicide, not murder, fueled further outrage, seen as a deliberate attempt to shield the accused. Protesters insisted the autopsy proved intent to kill, demanding murder charges. The gap between public demands and official action deepened mistrust. Suspensions and procedural inquiries felt hollow. The community wanted real accountability. With faith in the police eroded, all eyes turned to the Madras High Court for intervention. The hope was that only the judiciary could cut through institutional bias and deliver justice. The Madras High Court intervened, taking suo motu cognizance and sharply criticizing the state's handling of the case. The judges questioned why, given the evidence, murder charges weren't filed. Their intervention validated public fears of a cover-up and sent a clear warning to law enforcement. The court ordered the case to be registered as murder and mandated immediate compensation for Ajit's family. This decisive action shifted the investigation onto the right track. The judiciary's assertive stance became a powerful check on executive power. The message was clear. Police brutality would not be tolerated, and the courts were watching. Ajit Kumar's death echoed the infamous Satankulam case of 2020, where Jayaraj and Benix died after brutal police torture for a minor lockdown violation. In both cases, the police tried to mask the truth, but autopsies and judicial intervention exposed the violence. The Madras High Court's swift action in Satankulam, ordering murder charges, transferring the case to the CBI and protecting evidence, set a precedent. These interventions ensured the accused officers faced trial, not just suspension. The court's handling of Satankulam became a blueprint for Ajit Kumar's case. Judicial oversight proved essential in breaking the cycle of impunity. Each tragedy reinforced the urgent need for systemic change. The Madras High Court, a beacon of justice in Tamil Nadu, has consistently refused to accept official narratives at face value, especially when dealing with cases involving allegations of misconduct or negligence. The court understands its crucial role in upholding the principles of fairness and transparency, insisting on rigorous scrutiny and thorough investigation, particularly in custodial death cases, where the vulnerability of the deceased demands the utmost diligence. The court leaves no stone unturned in its pursuit of truth. The court's insistence on murder charges, when evidence suggests culpability, not lesser offenses like manslaughter or negligence, sends a powerful message that those responsible will be held fully accountable. This ensures the gravity of the crime is recognized from the start, reflecting the profound loss suffered by the victims and their families, and reinforcing the sanctity of human life. By transferring investigations from local police to independent agencies, like the CBCID or CBI, the court mitigates potential biases and ensures impartiality in the pursuit of justice. These agencies bring specialized expertise and resources to bear on complex cases. This act restores public confidence in the integrity of the investigative process, reassuring citizens that justice will be served fairly and without fear or favor. Swift compensation for victims' families, ordered by the court, acknowledges state responsibility for the harms suffered and offers immediate relief to those who have been tragically affected by custodial violence or negligence. These judicial actions fill the void left by executive inaction, stepping in where the government has failed to adequately address systemic issues or provide redress to victims. This proactive approach makes the court the primary driver of accountability, ensuring that those in power are held responsible for their actions and omissions. The message is clear. Justice cannot be compromised, regardless of the power or position of the accused. The state must answer for its failures and be held to the highest standards of conduct in safeguarding the lives and liberties of its citizens. The court's interventions are shaping a new standard, a higher benchmark for police accountability in Tamil Nadu, fostering a culture of transparency, responsibility, and respect for human rights within law enforcement agencies. Each custodial death exposes deep flaws in the policing system: impunity, lack of oversight, and inadequate training. Activists and legal experts argue these are not isolated incidents but symptoms of a broken culture. The Supreme Court's mandate for independent police complaints authorities remains poorly implemented, especially in Tamil Nadu. The Madras High Court has repeatedly criticized the state's failure to empower these bodies. True reform requires independent oversight, better training, and a shift from force to rights-based policing. Citizens must have a credible avenue to report abuse without fear. Only systemic change can break the cycle of violence and restore trust. The Madras High Court's vision for reform is both practical and transformative. It demands transparency CCTV in all police stations with footage preserved as evidence. The court calls for a powerful, independent police complaints authority led by a retired judge, free from political influence. Judicial guidelines now require thorough, impartial inquests into custodial deaths with magistrates given full access and proceedings videographed. The goal is to ensure evidence is preserved and justice is possible from the outset. The court also urges a cultural shift. Police must serve with integrity, not fear. Training in human rights and zero tolerance for brutality are essential. The judiciary's push is for a police force that upholds, not undermines, the rule of law. The Madras High Court's interventions are more than legal rulings. They represent a profound commitment to upholding the principles of justice and fairness. These interventions resonate far beyond the courtroom walls, touching the lives of countless individuals and shaping the very fabric of society. They are a defense of human rights and the rule of law, acting as a bulwark against injustice and oppression. The court's decisions serve as a powerful reminder that every individual is entitled to certain fundamental rights, and that these rights must be protected at all costs. When the state abuses its power, overstepping its boundaries, and infringing upon the rights of its citizens, the court stands as a crucial check, ensuring no one is above the law, and that those in positions of authority are held accountable for their actions. This principle of accountability is essential for maintaining a just and equitable society. Registering murder charges against those who violate the sanctity of life, ordering independent probes into allegations of misconduct and abuse, ensuring transparency and impartiality, and mandating compensation for victims of injustice, providing a measure of redress for the harm they have suffered, send a clear message. Justice will be pursued relentlessly, no matter how powerful the perpetrator or how difficult the path to truth may be. For victims' families, who have endured unimaginable loss and suffering, the court's support transforms their struggle into a recognized fight for justice, offering them a glimmer of hope amidst their despair and validating their pain. These actions restore faith in democracy and the legal system, reinforcing the belief that the government is accountable to the people and that the law is a shield against tyranny. The rights of all citizens depend on the protection of the most vulnerable, ensuring that those who are marginalized and disenfranchised are not forgotten or ignored. By standing firm, the court defends everyone's right to life and dignity, affirming the inherent worth and value of every human being, regardless of their background or circumstances. The quest for justice is ongoing, a marathon, not a sprint, a constant effort to hold power accountable and build a society where the law protects all, ensuring that the scales of justice are balanced and that the promise of equality is realized for every member of society.